Okay. I'm here. Yay! Thank you, Stacy. Thank you guys for coming back. Sorry for our technical difficulties. I'm a Virgin Live Instagram person, so uh, here it is. You got to try it to do it, I guess. So I'm gonna invite Seba from another name. She signed in from another spot. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's see what happens. I think it's gonna happen. Yay! Oh my god. I was super stressed out. Oh, there she is. Hi, beautiful.
Hi.
How are you?
I don't know what happened, but
Me either.
I don't know what happened, but I don't know. But now I am here. So
I'm so I'm glad. Thank you for being here.
you listen me? Good.
Yeah, yeah, I
Good?
can hear you. Yes. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Great.
Yay.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay, so Seba, so for those of you who don't know, my name is Ryan Simmons, and I am the Well Woman Way. So I'm a pelvic health, I'm a doctor of physical therapy that does women's health, pelvic health work. And I traveled to Mexico a year and a half ago, and I met Seba there. And when I was there, I was interested in meeting any birth professionals that were living there. And Seba, um, it's a small town, and everybody knew who Seba was, and she's very well respected in town for all of her work that she does with women, which is she has a multitude of offerings. And so I'm going to let her talk about herself. But we met in Mexico, and Seba has been very generous with her knowledge to me. And so I'm super grateful that she is here to share more with you about what she's taught me. And so, Seba, do you want to tell everyone just a little bit about you?
See, I'm so happy. Thank you so much, Ryan, for inviting me. Also, I'm so happy to share this with you and with the woman there out there. And yes, what I am doing is mostly like a sacred, pleasurable accompaniment, and it's with birth, postpartum, and also for woman, for any woman, uh, for the health of the womb is my specialty. The womb health or like femininity, reconnection, and health of the sacred ways, no, the traditional ways and ancestral ways. So I learned this with traditional midwives from here, from Mexico, from north, from the south, from Mayan midwives, also from here, from Nayarit. I live in Nayarit, Mexico. So I learned this from all these women, also from my own grandmother. She used herbs a lot, so and different traditional ways. So Mexican work, but also I am a therapist, a healer of biodynamics, presence, biodynamics, craniosacral, and different traditional, also hands-on body work. And also I do I guide these workshops and retreats in here in Mexico, in Canada, and in Spain. And I also when I work in this, I do private sessions of vaginal steaming. But what I want to say about this way, but with the fusion of the physiology and biology and this understanding more more in this time for every woman, no? For women are in the city, women are traveling, women are 18, have 18, have 50, no? Like more like what I did was I learned with all these midwives, traditional stuff, and then I weaved that and for I can show and how and treat and also combine more in a spiritual and energetic way and healthy way for every woman.
Yeah, and
So,
I think, Seba, to that point, I think that we are all learning, especially in these times, in changing times and times of uncertainty, that the pelvis, the pelvic bowl, is the sort of center of our feminine energy, and that we have to come to the space with care and not with just this sort of medicalization of the area, but also understanding that it is the sort of root and center of our spiritual self and our feminine energy, which really spreads out into all of our life, in our choices, in how we live our lives. And so bringing that sort of energetic and spiritual work to pelvic health is really important. Yeah.
And also I want to talk about like the have a good source. Good source? Do you understand me? No? Source?
Well, tell me more.
See, like a good transmission. This is, for me, this is a transmission of knowledge.
Uh-huh.
Okay, like for many, many, many years,
Right.
and it's important to have a good information because there is Google, and on
Right.
YouTube, and lots of that. It's awesome. That's great. We share and we have ideas and share our lives, and that's awesome. But I think that's different than people as us. We are more like specialized in the subject really, and we live this in our lives, no? And we also for many many years, and we have experience, and we accompanied many many women, no, in all these in many many years, and then we studied, no. I studied physiology, anatomy. Also, I studied somatic movement, no, and so it's very very important, and yoga, no. So I did my yoga training, my somatic teach, all that. So it's important have this background for really really um, be really good and combined, because then you can do it good. You can have all the benefits,
Right.
real benefits, not only like I don't know, like the magazine, Cosmopolitan, or whatever says, like, oh, it's fashion and it's very good for you, but that is very superficial also, and then you cannot really access with all the benefits for you. And for me, that's important, like really, really understand what you are doing and why and how it works, and then you can really, really heal, no?
Right. So can you talk to us? So I've heard from a lot of people that have been interested in the vaginal steaming, just like the little introduction videos that I've done. They feel overwhelmed by information. So one of the things that I wanted to do today was to simplify the idea of vaginal steam, bring some understanding to what physiologic and anatomical benefits it brings. So just kind of maybe starting with like traditional postpartum vaginal steaming. That seems like something that is used really frequently all over the world. So maybe just using one example of one time where we use vaginal steaming and why, so that people can start to understand this very complex thing, but they can start with just taking a little bit of knowledge or a little bit of understanding away from what we talk about today. So maybe is talking about postpartum vaginal steaming a good place to start, or is there another better place to start?
Sí, it's a good idea. Sí,
Okay.
it's
Because
great.
it's also a rite of passage that time, right? So when you have a child, it's a rite of passage. So it is, the vaginal steaming is ceremonial and spiritual, but it also has physiologic and anatomic benefits. So maybe we can talk about both of those things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Okay. Yeah. So what in traditional Mexican practice, how would a doula or a midwife handle sort of the postpartum care?
Okay, see, it's more like in traditional midwifery. Um, see, the postpartum care involves, like here in Mexico, this is not called as vaginal steaming. It's more there is many names.
Okay.
One is bajos, no, los bajos, or like only like very very vapor, like baths or traditional baths or
Okay.
vaporization, or
Like what
is
we would
more like
call a sitz bath. Like you
no,
actually sit your bottom in the bathtub?
no,
No.
yes, like is the steaming the
Okay,
most
still
important,
steaming.
no?
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
so I might say myself I say this because I begin to do this also with the postpartum mothers. And one woman told me one day, I love this woman, and she was a second baby, and was a very difficult postpartum for her. She was really, really depressed, and even she had awesome birth in water and very, very respectful, but she was only depressed. And so then she came to me, and I did a ceremony for a closing traditional ceremony for her. And then I give this, no, I gave the vaginal steaming for postpartum first. I begin it with that. And then she told me it's like a temazcali for the
Which
vagina.
is like a sweat.
Vaginas,
So like in a sweat
sweat lodge.
lodge. Yeah.
Sweat lodge for vaginas, she told
Yeah,
me, no?
exactly. Yeah.
And I love it that, yes, it's like more like temazcal in Mexico is, and in north, no, in the north is a little cave where you enter and you sweat. The temazcal, the name is Cali, is the house of Temaz, sweat. So it's the house of sweating. And yes, it's a temazcali for the womb, no? It's a place for you can rest first. I think one of the beautiful things is for rest, so the mother can rest in that moment, and you can hold the space for her, and that's so important. But then she have all this. Normally the woman is full cover, no? O sea, you
So when
cover
you
all,
okay, so all the way over.
and you cover all because you want to also um, connect with the womb, with your inner womb, no?
Right. Yeah.
And you want to connect with your body,
Hmm.
with your sensations, and focus, no? Focus inside. And it's
Oh,
for
that's
going.
beautiful. You're creating like your own womb with the blanket, and so you can really go inward and yeah, cool.
And we use here in Mexico the traditional, the rebozo, no? Like,
Okay.
very important. And we use one for cover, and the others are for cover
Covering the
the
legs
woman.
so that
The legs,
the
the
steam.
hips.
Okay.
It's very important. All the steam go to all the pelvic area, not only the vagina. It's not for only the vagina. It's for all the pelvic area. It's for the pelvic floor, for the hips, for the womb, for the belly. So also the legs is great. No, have it that more the thighs. No, the thighs.
So it's what you're saying is that it's really important when you're steaming that your hole from your waist down to the floor is
Mm-hmm.
totally covered with some sort of fabric so the steam is trapped in and can get to all the different places. Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And see. And then it's important, when we in postpartum, what we do is like hold the space and be silent when the woman is doing this, and sometimes singing. No, we sing to the woman. More in postpartum is more normal. We sing
Yeah.
because it's part of the ritual, but it's about hold the space and be there for the other for the mother. And sometimes they cry, no, and they need to release. It's a way. It's the water, no, it's the vapor in water, so it helps to relax and release, and then you can deep do deep breathings in that moment and be with you. No, you're alone. No, it's not the baby there.
Right.
So you can really like, poof, no? And you can also, it's more about for she go inside, no? The vapor is the woman. It's different than the bath. The seat bath, we do also the seat bath after that, or like a full bath. And this full bath is different. It's more for the woman. She talk, and then she can tell you the story, no? How was the birth? How was the pregnancy? How she feels now? And then she releases to the water. No, the water is an element for me very important for clean,
Uh-huh.
for for more for me it's more for release, for soft, makes you soft and release your waters inside too. No, like, so it's important the vapor.
I
Yeah,
love that you have these two ways of releasing your inner internal dialogue with yourself, the internal story, and then you also have another ritual that is your external story. So then you can exchange. And I think that that's so beautiful and feels so necessary, and something that in our, in our culture in the United States, all anybody cares about is the baby. And it's like the baby is fine. If the mom is fine, the baby is fine. All the baby
mm-hmm,
needs is the mama, like the happy, healthy mama, no?
mm-hmm.
So yeah, we're very much missing that. So
And it's
Seba,
about
when
self
you,
care, no?
yeah,
Self care, like building in the woman awareness of self care, no,
yeah,
in mother. Uh-huh.
yeah. So when you, how soon do you start doing these steaming rituals at postpartum?
The best is after.
Right
Like
away.
a very easy be steaming, like normal, like easy, like without singing, whatever. It's only like first she sits and have the vapor. The best is can be the next 2 days, 3 days.
Okay. And then what kind of herbs are you using on?
And it's awesome because if you do that in that time, the third day, second, helps in all that was very inflamed, all the inflammation, the swollen,
Uh-huh.
it inflames totally. Like it's
Goes
like
down.
magic. It's magic. It's like you do it, and then the next day you're like, wow. It's like I cannot notice I had a baby, no?
Wow. For us, we're putting on ice. So isn't that interesting too? The
Uh,
difference, like we all of a sudden these pad sickles. Have you heard of the pad sickle?
yes, I,
Like that's like the thing for women to do here to decrease inflammation is the pad sickle. But you are doing a totally different traditional practice of steam and heat to decrease inflammation. Do you think it's also the herbs? Is it the herbs
yeah,
too?
but also in traditional Chinese medicine, they say don't use popsicles, don't use cold
Uh-huh.
in these baths.
Yeah.
They say also do it with warm fabric,
Uh-huh.
with rather warm, like only that. Like they recommend that in China, in Chinese medicine,
Okay.
because it's the same as Mexican traditional medicine or Ayurvedic, because it's about cold. So the birth, when a woman had the birth and the baby and all that, there is a lack of blood, no, and it's an opening, and all the muscles, so they need hot heat for again go inside and
Okay.
and warm for that or
Okay.
heal inside. That's why it's important the heat. And your question was like the herbs. So the herbs is a long story about herbs. I feel it's a very deep subject
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes we take very easy like the way how we use herbs, and I feel it's not. We need to use it good and wise,
Yeah, no,
and
I agree. I
they
agree.
have
I think there
lots
are
of
some
chemi-
herbs. Sorry, go ahead.
they have a lot of
Right.
chemical inside. That's why we use for pharmacy and so for drugs. So each herb even is like little quantity is strong, and so we need to be very like um aware, how
Thoughtful.
aware,
Yeah.
thoughtful.
Mm-hmm.
And so I mostly like to use in Mexico. We have a lot of herbs for that, but we use arnica,
Yeah.
uh, arnica flowers and the herb, and we use calendula. Is
Yeah,
the
these herbs are pretty familiar. I think too a lot of us who are, we have children and we don't want to put, you know, pharmaceuticals on their skin when they get burns or wounds or things like that. So I think arnica and calendula are two of the herbs that I think a lot of us know about, just that we use like on the skin for inflammation and wounds, those kind of things.
and rosemary is the other.
Yeah, okay. And I mean, those are also herbs that are just like very much around in the Pacific Northwest. So, right. Yeah, so, okay. So, in other words, the herb subject matter is very long and something that you feel people need to know more about in order to use them so that they don't hurt themselves. So I have a question because there are a lot of companies in the United States. I mean, maybe not a lot, but several that sell herbs, and they'll put them together and they'll recommend herbs for like cooling or herbs for infection or herbs for, and they'll separate them. And the thing is people are buying them and using them. So we can't really I would love to for everyone to come to us to do vaginal steaming, but I think that the reality is that people are going to do it and experiment with it no matter what. And so I just would like people to know how to be safe. So maybe they know like certain herbs are more dangerous and you need to proceed with caution, maybe. So like I know calendula and arnica and like chamomile in general are like pretty benign. Like you're probably not going to hurt yourself when you use those herbs, but there are some that are more intense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like
Yeah.
which ones are the ones where you would not want to be messing around with them without
Mm.
knowing?
The see Artemis, Artemis, mugwort,
Mugwort.
mugwort.
It's
Like
strong.
family,
Uh-huh.
that family mugwort. There is many like mugwort.
Uh-huh.
Uh, See, that one is very strong.
Okay.
Um, I will say rosemary too, but it depends the quantity and why you are using. That's why I'm saying is when and why, no?
Yeah, yeah, no,
the,
I understand.
the other is roots, you know,
Yeah, and that
ruda.
is that neem? Is that like neem?
No,
No,
but it's another. It's very stronger. Neem is another. You need to be
strong one. Yeah.
cautious because they are recommending neem for anti-conception a lot. And yes, but you need how to use it really, really, really.
Anti-conception meaning abortion, meaning spontaneous abortion. Is that what you mean?
See, like no, for prevent have
A
a
baby.
the conception
Oh, really?
for prevent or for after if you maybe you think maybe
Okay.
so then maybe you can use neem
Okay.
and that's not the way of use it at all.
Yeah.
Uh, so that also is a very strong herb. So whether if you are going to use it, you need to know how. Thyme,
Is
see,
strong.
thyme
Yeah.
is strong too.
Okay.
Um, See, most the herbs are very strong because have alkaloids and flowers are safe. I feel almost all the flowers are very safe. No, like lavender
And
and
roses
all.
and
So for experiment, I will recommend that use flowers.
flower. Okay, that's great. I mean, I just feel like if we're here, people are interested and they're gonna try stuff at home. So we might as well tell them like if you want to try, because sometimes I think the steaming, even just the steam, is
Yes.
good for bringing
So,
sensation and
mm,
just like awakening the area. And so maybe also we should talk about like how far to sit away from the pot so that you don't burn yourself, or like, you know, some of those other safety things regarding the steaming.
Another important is don't use too many herbs
Okay. Yeah.
because
Well,
you can
so
intoxicate yourself.
how many?
How many? My recipe, one of my own way and the way I learn also, is three, no more.
Three. Three, no
A
more
mix
than three.
no
Okay.
more
Okay.
is enough.
Yeah.
And because you can intoxicate yourself if you put too many, and also if the
Okay.
quantity, also if you put too much, it's not. You don't need too much, and you don't need too many.
Okay.
So
I
that's
think
why.
people also they don't realize how permeable the
Yeah.
vulva and the vaginal tissues are. They just like
Mm-hmm.
suck these herbs up and go directly into your bloodstream, right?
Yeah. That.
I think people they don't I think that's
Vagina
like
don't
something they
have
don't
liver.
understand.
Yes. 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 Totally. The vagina don't have liver, as they don't have a filter for detox.
Right.
All it go direct to your bloodstream, direct.
Right.
So it's fast. So that's why that is important. The herbs are organic too.
Right. Yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
it's another reason to not wear bleach tampons, right? Because you're putting this material right up next to that vulvar tissue that just like sucks up any chemical.
Yes,
Right.
it's part of that totally. And the other is you say like see like don't sit too much
Too close,
close.
yeah?
No, that's not necessary. It's 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 some women they want more clothes, some others no.
Yeah.
Um, they are more sensitive in woman. Also, if you are in postpartum, you are more sensitive. Or you have an infection, you are more sensitive. So that the healing don't have to be with. It's not about like how much you are close to the vapor. No, it's
Right.
not
Okay.
about
Okay.
the vapor. Indeed do the work as you say, no?
Yeah.
So it's more about allow and have a good positioning of you for allows the vapor come in and relax, no?
So
And you relax.
if you don't have a stool or something like that, how would you position someone to receive the steam like a postpartum mama without a stool?
See, that's super common here, and we only sit in a corner of the bed
Okay.
or in a chair like a weaved chair or like in
On the
a
floor, you
banco,
build a chair.
un banco, a little chair, like
A bolster?
bolster or some see
Okay.
bolster blocks of yoga could also work.
Okay.
Um, or the other is you have a big pot, big one like the ones for
Oh yeah.
tamales.
Yeah.
A big one for like a big soup, and then inside you put the bowl, no, your bowl
Oh yeah.
inside the big pot, and then you sit in the pot,
Okay.
no, or you can, but that for me is good, but then only you receive only the steaming more
In your
in your
pelvic
vagina. That's
floor.
all.
Yeah.
Too, but it's good to receive it in your belly too, in your hips. So that's why it's nice. Only the corner of the bed or the bolster, or also you can put like pillows, like 4 pillows or 3, and then you have a little high,
Yeah.
and then you have next the the vapor. Also, it's important you know about physiology, so then don't need to be sit over the pot or the steaming or the bowl,
Mhm.
because then because our o sea, is the vagina, no, and the vagina channel, and here is the cervix up, more up, and here is also the womb, and the womb also is a little curved like this inside.
Mhm.
So if if I am saying, if you view my hips to the side, no, this side, see, so you can rest in your like a little in your hips. You can rest little like this, no,
Uh-huh.
not like this.
Back a little bit.
So
Yeah.
your hip do retroversion, no, like
Yeah. So
they
it's like
it's like this.
reclining. You would recline a little bit so that the steam kind of goes up this way.
Can go
Yeah.
like this. Inside. You can open there your legs more because maybe you have your feet in the floor and your
Right.
legs are bended, not your knees, and you can really open your legs and relax. Or you can do this the posture of yoga, siddhasana. You can do some like more open if you want to
Yeah.
open a little. It's not necessary, but if you like.
Yeah, I
The important
remember
is
when we did the first V steam that I did with you, I just sat on a bolster and I reclined backwards a little bit. I was leaning on something, and then my knees and my legs were up, and we just had this bowl that was pretty close, to my pelvic floor area, and then I just had a big blanket over. So it wasn't like I wasn't even over the pot of steam. I was actually back from, it wasn't like the steam is rising like this, but I was like over here. So you
mhm,
don't actually have to be right on top of it. You can be reclining as long as you have this fabric that is sort of enclosing the steam, right?
mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
okay.
And for that fabric, you can use a nice big blanket. And the more like blanket or
Mm-hmm.
big blanket or more like um, tight, no sé, like gruesa, like
A tight
more
a tight weave, like a tight weave that won't go through, like a wool or something.
that. So that's
Yeah, okay.
important. The more the heat maintains more time. You want to have more time and see,
And
and
what
it's
what is the time? Like how long?
until the vapor begins to feel uh, cooler,
Yeah.
not cold. It's
Okay.
before cold is cooler, and could be 15 minutes. O sea, like at least 15 minutes, at least
Okay.
for you can have all the benefit and the relaxation at least, and then
Okay.
you can be more time if you want.
I think I find it really interesting the steaming for clots and like menstrual cycle, like the before and after steam for menstrual cycle. I personally have been experimenting with that because I was using a cup, and I was using a menstrual cup, and all of a sudden I was like leaking blood, and I didn't know why. It was unusual because I've used a cup a lot, And then I pulled it out and there was just like this huge clot. And it was I've never had a clot like that before. And I felt like I must be holding blood in my uterus that was staying in the womb long enough to clot. And it really concerned me, but I knew that if I went to the doctor, they weren't gonna say anything. Like they were just gonna be like, yeah, women have clots in their period. And I was like, no, no, there's something wrong here. What is going on? So I steamed 3 days before my period and then 3 days after my period, which was something that you and I talked about doing therapeutically. And then my next period, I didn't have any clots at all, because actually when I was steaming, I was like flushing more and more out. And I just thought that that was sort of a miracle. I was like, whoa.
Wow.
I just felt like it gives you control over your own body in a very like gentle way that feels healthy and nourishing, and not because going to the doctor here is not nourishing at all. It's almost like scary. Yeah, it's almost scary, and also you're going to be disappointed every time, because they're not going to have any answer for you except for some sort of medicine or something. So I felt empowered that I knew how to handle this situation. I know I'm dangerous. I'm dangerous. I'm like I'm going rogue. I'm steaming my own vag. but luckily I had you to teach me a few things, so I feel fortunate.
Sí, and the most important is you experience it, this experience, no, you have, and that's very valuable.
Valuable, yeah.
Important. It's the most important.
Yeah. So I just want to ask anybody who's on the call if they have any questions that you guys things that we haven't talked about that you're interested in hearing about. Seba, did you have other things that you wanted to discuss while people are putting questions up?
Sí, what do you say about see, I want to say that for me the most important is you take these practices for self care and self nourishment also, no? And that's really the way to heal, no? Yourself is going to be, and it's important also listen, no, to your body, because then you know more how to do it. Also, is the part of the exercise of awaken yourself in this practice, no? Because really it's more like a practice for reawake yourself, no? Because there is for me that bothers me a lot, and it's maybe personal, but there is a fashion out there like about detox your vagina and detox your womb and detox all. And okay, great, it's good detox. No, we need to detox, but is for me it's important to recognize the difference, and this is more like a sacred practice for you, for your yoni, for your vagina, for have also after that have a yoni practice, or like a self pleasure practice, or for have sex after. or prepare
Which
for.
we didn't talk about libido, but I can tell you that after working with Seba, I I was like, whoa, my vagina is awake. Like, you know, and it really does increase your libido. And like your friend said, it's like a temescal for your vagina. So, you know, after you go into a sweat lodge and you feel like so relaxed, and this is when our bodies feel safe and open to having sexual experiences. And so that the steam can really, really help with that.
That's so important what you say is feel safe, no? It
Yeah.
makes you feel safe. And when you feel safe, you can heal also. Your
Right.
system can heal itself. And that's so important. The woman understand this and really it's not about buy a box or like buy a mix of herbs for steaming or watch a YouTube video.
Right.
It's more it's really like a healing, powerful practice and tool for life, for every time, every part of your life or stage in a woman's life is very important. And also don't use it for detox yourself, please.
Don't use it
Don't.
to detox. Well, so maybe we can talk about that, because people want to know if they have an issue. Like, let's say, like, I've had a friend with bacterial vaginosis, and she couldn't get rid of it. I mean, she was going to the doctor, taking antibiotics, and like it was continuing to come. And we worked together, and I did I did like massage, you know, release her tissues, because you need the circulation and all of that stuff in the pelvic floor to get rid of infection, right? And so we
I
worked with
learned that
that.
from you.
Yeah. But she also was doing steaming, which she said she like flushed, you know, things out, you know, mucus kind of looking material, you know, out of her uterus or vagina. And so she wasn't trying to detox, but there were, I guess, microbes in her vagina or in her uterus that were like staying there for some reason, probably because her pelvic floor was really tight, right? So she needed to release the pelvic floor. But I also think that the steam and the herbs maybe were helping her to flush whatever microbes were there. So I know what you're saying. Like, your yoni is perfect the way it is. You don't need to clean it or get rid of its natural scent or anything like that. It's not about that. But for my friend, it was like the scent was unnatural. She was like, what is going on? This is not me. Like, this doesn't smell like me, right? So she took it upon herself to do this vaginal steam, and it was successful. I have a friend asking, if is steaming something you would want to do regularly if you have an issue you're trying to correct. Stacy, do you have a particular issue that you are curious about? I just put it in the chat if there's something you're curious about. But Seba, can you speak to that?
See, I want first. That's why I'm saying there is a difference between detox, like this passion about detox yourself, detox the womb, because that's a patriarchal idea. Okay, that's don't love me. Is I don't love me
Right,
idea. I am still in that
right.
um, lack of self-esteem and self-love of the woman's body, and you are still in this patriarchal way of hegemonic way about like I don't love me, and so I need to detox because the women we are we have a lot of information and a lot of things, a story, and plus the diseases, and then I need to detox because I'm not clean enough, and that's important to recognize the difference. We need to really, really, really put attention in that, and this is practice for self-care. Is for love yourself more. So it's not for detox, but that's why it's awesome because have that benefit. See, for sure, I have bad smell because I have trichomonas. I have a bad infection, and it's also always swollen and it's very in comfort. So that's why it's awesome, because it's not about like, oh, I want to detox from about.
No.
No, it's because I really need to heal and take care of me, and then it's going to shift.
Yeah.
And see what she's asking. It's important. Like there is two ways of doing. Okay, the one way is for me it's a self-care practice. So it's important to use it like self-care. So for what? For every time you feel it, you are craving or you feel drawn about doing it, and you feel you need some relaxing and some nourishing to yourself. That could be an awesome way to begin. And the other is if you have some more like issue, um, that is for me more important, like go with someone who knows how to do it, no, and
Right.
with
Yeah.
a professional, and then you know how to have a good guide in whatever you are having, because there is many,
Yeah.
and it's good to have a good like all the look about your thing or like issue. So it's good to have an external person for all that. For me, is better. It's more professional and more like you are taking more responsibility about yourself. But see, when you are having an issue, if you want to say that, um, you have to have more like an order, like more like okay, it depends.
Like a
For
prescription. Kind of like a prescription. Like where somebody
fertility, a way
says,
to do
you need to
it.
do it this many days. Yeah.
If you have an infection, is there another way to do it, and you need another herbs. If you are doing for postpartum, is another way. If you are doing for even in the last week, in the last, maybe some people is going to say no, but me, I have another perspective. You can do it in pregnancy, also in the last weeks, no. So but you need to know how in that. That's more like particular uh, space.
Yeah.
And
Specific.
she's saying another thing.
She said she's never tried it and she doesn't really have an issue, but she's interested in maybe like doing it maybe as a regular self-care, which you said.
See,
Yeah.
do it. Do it for self-care. Is the first step.
Yeah.
And then for correcting something, I feel you need to go with someone more accurate in the subject.
Yeah, and
More.
like we said, the safer herbs are really like the flowers, like the chamomile and calendula and arnica and roses. I think you mentioned red raspberry leaf to me one time. Is that pretty mild?
Yes.
Yeah, so something like that would just like you would drink a cup of chamomile tea before bed. It's like the same kind of feeling, right? Like it's calming and nourishing and relaxing.
And as you say, like before, like only the vapor is enough.
Yeah.
So you can begin with that also.
So
You don't need
no,
air.
in other words, no flowers. Like just do water, just steam.
Mhm.
Yeah.
See, just put water, and you can also put, if you like a beautiful crystal rose quartz, or can put the water and then connect with
Rose
that
quartz.
also. No?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
So I feel maybe we can begin to close the.
Yeah. 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 Do you want to do a closing for us, Seba?
Yeah, sure.
You're the queen of rituals.
Sorry, what happened? I didn't listen.
Oh, I said you're the queen of rituals. La reina de ritual.
Se me está yendo.
Can you hear me?
Okay,
Can you
so
hear me?
I don't listen very good now. I don't know why.
Oh
But
no?
it's okay.
Okay. Well, that's okay. Then we can just talk some other time.
It's
Okay?
okay. They're closing, so I
Okay.
don't know. So thank you so much.
Okay.
We are like providing these beautiful self-care practices and more for sure. And so we are very happy to accompany you and in your way. And
Yeah,
you,
and
Ryan,
Seba,
from there, and me from Mexico, and also online. We have our my Instagram is not this one, it's another called Utero Amor.
yeah,
Utero
Utero
Amor.
Amor.
So
So
you want to follow me
UTERO.
on or use it,
Yeah.
could be awesome. You do it. Please.
Yeah.
Utero Amor
See.
is like womb love in, I think, in
Yeah.
English. So that, and thank you
Perfect.
so much.
Yes.
I'm very happy, and I hope we can share more
Yeah.
in the future
Yeah.
soon, very soon.
I'm
Sí.
gonna run to Mexico as soon as I can.
I don't listen.
Okay. Muchas gracias, Seba. Ciao. Hasta pronto.
Gracias.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you
Okay.
all the women
Nice to see
here,
you.
and thank you.
Okay. Bye.
See you soon.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.